Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I want to talk about Sharon Rogers Tier 3 and White Fox Tier 2. But I don't have either of those characters at those stages yet. My Sharon Rogers is still at Tier 2. As you can see, my potential is only at 85%. And because I'm slow rolling White Fox for the White Fox Heroic Quest, I'm not going to use a Mega Tier 2 ticket. My White Fox is still at Tier 1, not at Tier 2. But through the magic of the internet and through the kind of brilliance, for lack of a better word, of you guys, the fans, I am able to bring you guys some insights into both Sharon Rogers Tier 3 and White Fox Tier 2. This is something I've never really done before, at least not to this extent. I've highlighted things that people have shown me from time to time in specific situations, but this is more directly highlighting specific things that people have sent me recently, because I think that it's important to say thanks to you guys for giving me all this information. Secondly, I want to encourage more of you guys to give me and to send me, clips and images if you find things that you think I may be unaware of. Now, of course, if it's just kind of your run of the mill everyday things like, hey, Cynicalex, did you know you can clear stage 50 of Ebony Maw with Scarlet Witch, level 70 mythic uniform, CTP of energy? Yeah, sure, I know that for sure. Which is still cool if you want to send me that. But when it comes to things that I think the community doesn't know yet, when it comes to things that I don't know yet or that I'm unsure about, it's so appreciative. I'm so appreciative of people sending me that information and being able to provide evidence, because then that gives me the confidence to share it with you guys. And then here we are. So the first one I want to talk about is White Fox's Tier 2, not just Tier 2 passive, but also the leadership. So technically, I don't need her Tier 2. But we've already talked about her Tier 2 passive a little bit. I told you guys that there was a list, that I wasn't going to give you the list of all characters that benefited from this leadership, because it's all allies with the leadership passive, and you have to go into the details page and you have to check on the ability. Well, we got the actual full list thanks to Mark, and he was kind enough to send me a kind of text screenshot of all of the different characters that are available for it. And yes, there are no villains on that list, so it only applies to heroes right now, which is a little bit disappointing, but still a pretty exhaustive list, if you can see there. So thank you to Mark for sending me that. But additionally, White Fox has something that I think was overlooked, and I definitely overlooked it. It was her Chief Fox leadership. Now, her Chief Fox leadership applies to all allies. It decreases the debuff duration by 24%, which is the same thing that someone like Miles Morales has, which is a pretty useless leadership, to be honest. But the first line, I totally missed that. Increases all debuff effects by 40%. That's a huge number. Now, there is, I believe, one other character in the game right now. This was pointed out to me on the live stream. I don't remember who it was, but thank you. There is one other character right now that has this leadership, and it is Enchantress, a paywall character, and hers is 25%. So 40% is almost double that, which means that White Fox definitely has a very unique leadership and possibly has a very, very strong leadership. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, Cynicalex, what debuff effects do I really want to increase the duration of? I mean, I already have 10 seconds of mind control. Do I really want 14 seconds of mind control? Well, you could have 14 seconds of mind control. Yeah, you could. That's pretty cool with Scarlet Witch. But that's not really what I'm thinking of here, and that's not really what was brought to my attention by some of you guys online on Twitter. This comes to us from Daniel Perez, and he showed me not only Deadpool, but also Gambit. Now, in the case of Deadpool and Gambit, they both have an all defense down skill. Deadpool's stacks up to 45% with 15 on each bomb. He throws 3 bombs. And Gambit, as you guys know, because I've done about 1 million videos on him, Gambit has on his 5th skill Straight Flush up to 50%, or sorry, minus 60% all defense, applying minus 30%, I guess, with each card throw, and then it stacks up to minus 60. But Daniel's screenshots indicate that using White Fox's leadership will bump up, improve those percentages, not only the percentage that you're applying, the all defense down stack that you're applying, but the maximum stack. And this is where I had personally expressed some doubt. I didn't think that Netmarble would go that far. I thought maybe they would just improve how quickly the debuffs were applied up to their maximum, but that White Fox's leadership would not improve the maximum. But it appears through both of his screenshots that it does. So Deadpool's, as you can see, is no longer 45%. It's somewhere in the 60% range, 63%, I believe. And then for Gambit, his 60% gets bumped up to 84%, almost 100%, or almost 85% at least, all defense down, which is huge. It's adding more than 20% all defense down. Now, this has a few implications. I don't necessarily think it's going to make White Fox's leadership #1 for many characters. It may only apply for characters like Gambit. Deadpool has a very strong leadership for himself, so that's why I kind of hesitate to give her that tag for Deadpool. But if you can combine a character that has a lot of all defense down with the leadership, so that they can double dip and also get White Fox's tier 2 passive of 60% additional damage, increased damage to supervillains, then you may be onto something, and then she may end up being the best leadership for specific characters. However, neither Deadpool nor Gambit, if you looked at that list that Mark sent quickly enough, neither of those characters have the leadership tag. So unfortunately, they will not benefit from White Fox's 60% increased damage to supervillains. If Captain America had a more reliable, for example, all defense down skill, I believe he has it on his ultimate skill. Yeah, he has minus 20% all defense, but that's only for 3 seconds. It's really not enough. It's not a high enough amount, and it's not for long enough. But for example, if Captain America had something like Gambit or something like Deadpool's tier 3 skill where it stacks minus 100 all defense, that could possibly make White Fox the #1 leadership for someone like Captain America. And that's a pretty huge shift to just happen overnight. So I think that the value of White Fox is only rising at this point. And unlike Arachnite, I think she's probably worth the 750 crystals. Even at tier 1, you can find some fun things to do with her with that all debuff 40%. But I do think it would be worthwhile to tier 2 her again. I know it's going to cost about a month. I know it's going to cost 750 crystals, and it's going to then cost you a tier 2 ticket. And if you're not lucky, it might cost you more than that. I know some of you guys had trouble getting Arachnite's gears to 20 with 430 bios, but I do think that it's a little bit more I don't want to say necessary, but it's a better idea now. So I think with this new information, you should consider, if you haven't already, starting White Fox's quest, because the character appears to have multiple uses outside of just a support, also a leadership role. And we know characters that are good at both of those things, like Ebony Maw, like Ghost Panther, and those characters are super useful on a majority of rosters. So I wanted to bring that to your attention, and I wanted to say thank you to those people who sent me that information on Twitter, because you guys are amazing. Secondly, I want to talk about Sharon Rogers tier 3. Now, of course, I don't have Sharon Rogers tier 3, boo-hoo, but I will probably be getting her to tier 3 tonight on the live stream. So I want to first point that out to you guys, that you don't want to miss this, because we're going to be going directly to tier 3 ASAP, and it's going to be a blast. Going to have a lot of fun. Secondly, I want to point out that her damage is absolutely bonkers at tier 3. Now, of course, I don't have her at tier 3, so I can't directly show you, but I've been able to show people on the live stream by joining giant boss raids with people in my alliance that have her tier 3, and I've also been sent tons of information about her tier 3. And in particular, I want to highlight 2 videos that I was sent. The first video was sent by Abdullah Haman Helmi. Sorry, I should have practiced your name a couple more times. But yeah, Sharon Rogers tier 3 GBR, and he's got a CTP of destruction, which is good, but I imagine it will do less damage, or a CTP of energy will do more damage because of all those hits. Her tier 3 skill has over 100 hits, so I imagine the chain hit damage, especially if you have 30%, stacking with the 10% that she has on her uniform, 40%, is enough to really bump up that damage even more. But for Abdular's video, holy crap, he melts like 10 bars or 12 bars with her tier 3 skill using a CTP of Destruction. And I've seen even crazier showings in GBR live. So it's pretty crazy. I don't want to say for sure because I don't have her yet, but I do think she is probably the #1 or #2 best tier 3 character in the game now because of that. She has basically all of the damage of a fully charged, fully realized. I mean, in the sense that you charge his heroic skill and you take the full amount of the damage, so you accumulate the full amount of the buff for the all attack buff. She has the damage of a fully realized Captain America tier 3 skill without having to charge it, without having to risk getting guard broken or iframed or anything. You just press a button and you have this nuke, literally a nuke. And then we also have a video from I Am Mowgli, and he sent a Sharon Rogers tier 3 Corvus clear. Now this was only stage 43, which you guys may still think is impressive, but I was able to clear a stage 40 Corvus with my level 60 Sharon Rogers. So I definitely do think, and I challenge you guys out there, if you have tier 3 Sharon Rogers, push her higher. I think she can do at least stage 50 for Corvus. I would guess she could probably do stage 60. That's right, 60 for Corvus. I'm not sure how far she'll go with Thanos and Cull Obsidian, but I do think for Corvus she can push a little bit higher than that. But it's still very impressive to see at level 40 so many bars melt away so quickly. And there's basically only one character in the game that can do that, and that's Deadpool. And that's Deadpool when he stacks the all defense down from his 3rd skill and the all defense down from maximum effort, and then you proc your 5th skill or your 4th skill afterwards. So it's very impressive to see Sharon Rogers putting up such gigantic numbers without all defense down. Keep that in mind. If she were to ever get all defense down, or if some other character were to be able to apply it for her, I'm honestly terrified and aroused at the same time at the thought of her being able to just completely obliterate her enemies. So I'm super excited to get Sharon Rogers tier 3. I'm more intrigued by White Fox thanks to you guys, and I wanted to bring all that information to your attention so that you can have more fun with the game and you can have a better kind of assessment of both of these characters and possibly give her uniform, Dark Star armor, a second look. I think it's a strong recommendation now from me, given all of the kind of highlights I've seen and given my continued success with her new rotation 3-5-4-2. So let me know what you guys think of Sharon Rogers tier 3, and if you think I'm gonna get lucky or not tonight, getting that last 15% potential. Fingers crossed. Let me know what you think of the surprise White Fox leadership passive and how we could possibly apply that to some characters in the game that can double dip from her leadership buff on tier 2. Subscribe if you enjoy the content and you want to support me. Hit the bell if you don't want to miss any of my videos. And of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.